Saturday morning gospel start time. Our time stands as 8:30. Right on the dot. We're going to switch over studio B and say good morning to you, brother Michael Jenkins.
Maybe I should put my headphones on, huh? That might be a good start. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to PD Sports Wrap this morning. Got a great story to start with today. First of all, happy Thanksgiving to all out there. Jimmy Vereen, Mullins legend, football coach, basketball coach, mentor. He is coaching up at Millbrook High School now in Raleigh, and they are going to state, is Millbrook. They have a perfect 13-0 record as they head into the state finals. Let me recap this season real quick, because Jimmy's a very special person to everybody, probably within this listening audience. Millbrook, let me see what they did. Schedule. As I said, they're 13-0, 7-0 in their conference in 8A. They started the season with a 34-13 win over Garner, followed that up with a 36-0 over Heritage, 48-7 over Wake Forest, 64-15 over Athens Drive, 28-7 over Rollsville, 28-0 over Leesville Road, 42-7 over Broughton, 49-0 over Inlow, 55-0 over Wakefield, 25-6 over CHHS. I don't know who that is, but anyway. And they beat Panther Creek 65-0. They beat Jordan 27-10. Beat Hoggard 14-7. And that sets them up for a state finals on the 11th of December versus Huff High School. So congratulations to Jimmy Vereen and to Millbrook High School football program. But of course, we have a state championship situation going on here with our local high schools in South Carolina. And yesterday, being my favorite weekend of the high school football season, that will be state semifinal weekend, and those games are always played the day after Thanksgiving. And on yesterday, in the state semifinals, you have Central of Pageland. They fell hard to Hampton County, 42-12. Loris, I think these guys are. Let me see. One second. Let me see what I can see here. Yep, we're winding down, peoples. Anyway, Central 42-22 lost to Hampton County. Loris Lions went down real hard to, I guess you can call them the inevitables now. That being the Oceanside Collegiate. I think they call them the Land Sharks or something like that. Well, the Land Sharks ran all over Loris last night, 38-7 in the Class 3A lower state. Great Collegiate ran up against South Florence in the 4A, and South Florence is going back to state for a third time with a 55-14 win over Great Collegiate, who only recently went to 4A. West Side and South Point out of Rock Hill, they knocked off West Side in convincing fashion, 40-0. You had a tight one with Fairfield Central and Strom Thurmond, and unfortunately, I say unfortunately because the name Strom Thurmond still kind of stirs stuff inside of me that's not good. Strom Thurmond beat Fairfield Central 15-13. Dutch Fork had a little struggle with Dorman for a while, but in the end, Dutch Fork prevailed, winning 30-0. In the Class A, Bamberg Earhart nipped Cross 29-26. That might have been the best game of the night, or one of them. Irma all over Berkeley, 44-6. Lamar Silver Foxes rolled over Louisville, 48-7. A lot of people thought Louisville was going to have a chance to win there. Northwestern, a team that had been number one in the state for a good part of the season, and they proved it last night. knocking off Indian Land 51-19. Somerville Green Wave roll over in-town rival James Island 45-16. Belton Honeypath beat Powdersville 35-7. Now these matchups set up state finals for next weekend on the 5th. And this is what we're going to have. Belton Honeypath and Oceanside Collegiate. They will play for the Class 3A state crown. Northwestern will face Irmo, and that will be it's a 5A matchup. Bamberg Earhart and Lamar for the Class A state crown. I'm thinking let me see something here. That's next Friday. And on Saturday, you're going to have South Point versus South Florence. It's going to be for the 4A crown. And the 5A Division 1 finals will be Somerville versus Dutch Fork. I wouldn't think that was a rematch from last year. And 2A will be, is that Strom Thurmond? That's not 2A. Anyway, Strom Thurmond versus Hampton County in another finals. So, it's all set. What am I disappointed about? Well, I kind of wanted to see Loris win, but unfortunately, Oceanside Collegiate right now is a juggernaut. It's not a team that people look forward to playing, especially down there, which is where they had to go. Someone asked yesterday, hey, if Loris has got a better record than Oceanside, why are they playing the home game? Why do they get the home game and not Loris? Well, that flips-flops every year. Next year, the team from up this way will get a home game, no matter. So it was Loris's time. It was this area's time to travel. And they did, and it wasn't good. So Loris, 2 years in a row, last year they lost in the state finals. This year they lost in the state semifinal, but my hat's off to them. They've had a great run. And, sometimes when you have these kind of runs, though, they just don't come around a lot. This has been 2 years of this. Chances are they'll have a drop-off next year, and they won't be in the conversation. Good morning, Miss Maddie Israel. How are you this morning? How's my girl Brandy doing these days? Okay, but now, it's basketball season. And the season really officially has already started. Games have been played already. Let's see who has. We're going to take a look at Mullins first. And Mullins has already played 3 games. And they won one of those games and lost 2. They lost to Georgetown. I was talking about Georgetown a lot over the last years or so about how it seems like they would have outstanding sports down there. But, they really haven't. But when I see them having beaten Mullins, maybe this is a change in the direction of the Georgetown program. They beat Mullins 57-49. Mullins also lost to Walkmore 56-45. So Walkmore is in this conference too. So that's going to be, maybe they're good this year. Maybe they're really good. Maybe it's not just Atlantic Collegiate Academy that folks have to worry about. Certainly Mullins is a good basketball team. Hadn't seen Marion yet, but I expect that they're going to be pretty good as well. So let's take a look at the schedule, and I don't know if the schedule is accurate because Max Prep has always had some issues. But it looks like Mullins has played Andrews, Georgetown, and Walkmore. They beat Andrews 65-50. Now, according to the schedule, and this probably is not right, on the 12th of December, you're going to have Mullins at Atlantic Collegiate Academy. It seems a long stretch in between games there, so maybe it's a tournament thrown in there or something, but it doesn't seem likely that they will be playing on the 26th and not playing again until the 12th. But after the 12th, they have Marion. And that game looks like it's in Marion. No, that game's in Mullins. And then Marlboro County High School on the 17th, Lake City on the 18th. Oh, this is a tough stretch right here. 16th, 17th, 18th, 20th, they're going to be at Berkeley. On the 22nd, they're going to be at Burke. And then on the 27th, you have the Pepsi Carolina Classic in Florence. And Mullins is expected to be there to try and win that tournament. From the 3rd, that's the championship game. Wait a minute. No, hold on a second. Carolina Pepsi Classic, and then Mullins goes to the Carolina Forest Classic on the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd. Then there's a little break until the 6th, and that's where they would play against Manning at home. They will be at East Clarendon on the 9th. They will be at Dillon on the 10th. They will host Kingstree on the 13th. On the 19th, the Kings Classic Showcase. And then they will host Atlantic Collegiate Academy. They're at Marion on the 23rd. On the 26th, they host Lake City. Then they are at Manning. On the 3rd of February, they have East Clarendon at home. And then they finish the season off on the 6th with Kingstree. So that's the Mullins deal. Marion. I was looking at Marion's schedule. Not the schedule, but their roster. And they have a pretty impressive looking roster. Like I said, I haven't seen them yet, but I'll see them next week. Charles White Jr., or Charles White II, is a senior this year. 6'4" shooting guard. Ian Goss, sophomore, forward, 6'8". Ian Goss. Do I even know Ian Goss? Kid running around 6'8", I should know him, huh? But anyway, Kamari Watson's a junior shooting guard, 6 feet tall. Roderick Dickerson, 6'3", sophomore wing. Jakari Brown, sophomore point guard, 5'10". Willie Cross, 6 foot senior shooting guard. Kamari Riddick, 5'9" guard, sophomore. Deron Leggett, 5'10", junior forward. Boy, he must have some athletic ability. You have Deron Leggett, 5'10" forward. Benjamin Watford, 5'9" guard. Jaden Nolan, 6'2", freshman point guard. And Amari Green, my little neighbor, 6'2", forward. And he's a junior this year. Good morning, fam. Jamel, how you doing, buddy? Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. So that's the way that looks for Marion. Now we're going to look at the schedule. And Marion's schedule looks like this. On the 2nd, which is this Tuesday, they open against Latta. And that looks to be a home game. They then host Atlantic Collegiate Academy on the 4th. On the 5th, they are at Myrtle Beach. On the 6th, they are at Lexington. And this is something here, Stars and Stripes Showcase on the 6th. So I guess that's at Lexington High School. Anyway, St. James. They're at St. James on the 9th. They host Johnsonville on the 10th. They host Kingstree on the 12th. They are at Dillon on the 13th. Those games start piling up early, man. On the 16th, of course, they got Mullins. Then they host Hampton County on the 22nd. There's something here to be announced on the 23rd. On the 27th, you have the Carolina Classic in Florence. And then they host on the 6th Lakewood High School. On the 9th, they host Lake City High School. On the 10th, they host Camden High School. Wow, that's a tough schedule. On the 13th, they're at Manning. On the 16th, they are at East Clarendon. Of course, that's Tuberville. On the 20th, they are at Kingstree. And then the Mullins game is on the 23rd. Then they are at Atlantic Collegiate Academy, at Lake City. They host Manning, and they host East Clarendon. So the things are, season's on, y'all. It's time. It's time to get it on. And I'm looking forward to it. I'll see my first game next week. And I look forward to seeing what Marion looks like this year. Let's take a look at Latta real quick. And Latta they're going to have a good girls basketball team, and the boys basketball team should be pretty good as well. Let's see. Coaching staff for Latta. Malcolm Short, Clinton Brown are assistants, and Chris Page is the head basketball coach at Latta. Now, you remember Chris Page from the Raymond Felton days. He and Raymond were quite a team, a devastating team that led them to 2 state championships. So let's see who Latta is playing. They normally like to take some teams from over the border a little bit. But let's see if they have their schedule here. No, they don't have their schedule here. But Bobby Richardson is the girls' coach, and a very excitable young man, a very knowledgeable basketball guy, one of my favorite players ever from around here. And I expect they're going to make a serious run at a state crown this year. Is the Lady Vikings of Latta. Let's take a look at what they got, because there are some players on this team that are really special. And let me see if I can identify some of those. Here we go. All right. As I said, Bobby Richardson is the head coach there. Tony McCray is assistant coach. Of course, you know Tony McCray from Marion High School fame, basketball and football. He's a quarterback for Marion. Pretty sure that's him. Rihanna Green, you know who she is. She was a big star for Latta for many years. And now she has gotten into coaching. She was softball superstar, basketball superstar, all-state player. Rihanna was all that. She's an assistant coach. And then you have Bobby Richardson, who's the head coach, and Sandra Gomelian is the statistician. Looking at their schedule, see if it's diverged from, let's see. Okay, well, it seems to be lockstep with the varsity boys team. So, but roster-wise is what I want to take a look at. Kalia Herman, senior, 5'7". Kanaya Page, she's a sophomore. Josiah Page, the junior, Aaliyah Tisdale, sophomore. Nyasia Jennings is a sophomore. Summer Page is a sophomore. Audrey Williams is a freshman. Oh, she get a lot of youngsters on this team. Ariana Crawford is a freshman. Jaden McClellan is a freshman. Adelaide Hyatt is a sophomore. Briannia Scott is a sophomore. And Zakiya Blakely is a freshman. Folks, this is a lot of youngsters on this team. Bobby is rolling the dice and saying, I'm throwing them out there. We're going to see if they can sink or swim. So, Ladder Lady Vikings, watch out for them. Now, of course, you see I'm wearing my Eagles hat here. And I know all of you Cowboy fans are feeling pretty good about yourselves these days, and you should. Cowboys did well. The Eagles are floundering. And in my other team, the Ravens are also floundering. They were both terrible the last 2 days. And I don't feel very good about the whole thing right now. I started feeling better about the Ravens when they went on that little winning streak after the terrible start. But they lost to Cincinnati the other day, leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I don't know. You shouldn't be losing to the Cincinnati Bengals, really and truly, if you have Super Bowl aspirations. But they got beat, and they looked terrible doing it. Eagles, same thing. They looked terrible yesterday. And their offense sputtered, and they couldn't stop this running back or the quarterback for Chicago. So, Eagles got work to do. They're still in prime position. But let's take a look here. Where are my Eagles right now? Eagles basically, they still lead the NFC with an 8. Lead the NFC East with an 8-4 mark. The Cowboys are kind of creeping up a little bit. They are now 6-5 and 1 tie. Now, that's going to be, let's see, 11, 12. So they got 5 more games to go. And theoretically, the Cowboys could overtake the Eagles if this thing plays out the way Cowboy fans want it to. Although I don't think so. But I'm not mad at Cowboy fans. I got a bunch of family members who are Cowboy fans. I had a lot of friends of mine who are Cowboy fans. So I ain't mad at them. I'm not mad at the Cowboys. I don't know how far they're going to go, and I hope they don't win the Super Bowl or nothing ridiculous like that. But, come on now. How can you be mad at the Cowboys and their fans after all the suffering they've done? But I don't feel bad enough for them where I'm going to want them to end up with a ring this year. I don't want that to happen. So the Eagles have to straighten their stuff out. They've been shaky all year, even though they've been winning. But there's a crack in his armor right now, and they look kind of shaky to me. But the leaders in the East, you got Philadelphia, you got Dallas, and you got Washington, who lost their quarterback and are done. And you got the New York Giants, who are always done. So, in the north of the NFC, you got the Chicago Bears, who really, really turned their act around. They're looking really good. And the little quarterback, Caleb, is proving a lot of people wrong. Good morning, Miss Pamela Owens-Beatty. Good morning, Herman Hawkins, Rudolph Finkley, Susan Webster. How's everybody out there today? So after Chicago, this division seems to be much tighter. You got the Bears at 9-3. You got Green Bay at 8-3-1. You got the Detroit Lions 7-5. Coming into the year, people were kind of picking Detroit to win this thing, but right now they are like in the middle of the pack. Minnesota Vikings, I never really thought that they were going to be that good, but they're sitting at 4-7 right now. Tampa Bay started out really good. They're 6-5. Carolina Panthers are up and down. They're 6-6. Atlanta Falcons, who basically have fallen off the planet, they were expected to do some things. They lost their quarterback. They're probably done. New Orleans Saints, what are you going to say about the Saints? They're the Saints. The LA Rams are looking good, 9-2. Seattle Seahawks 8-3, they're second. And the San Francisco 49ers. So this division is really tight. I mean, only 2 games separate the top guys from the third place guys. But as I said, I expect the Eagles to regroup. They better regroup pretty quick. And they better get their stuff together because right now, they don't look good at all. Looking at the college game, Ohio State is the #1 team in the country, but they're running up against a team that has slapped them in the face the last few years in Michigan in their big rivalry game. Normally, I feel pretty confident about Ohio State versus Michigan, but not lately. Michigan, they did something. Those wins that they had over Ohio State the last few years have put a bug in their ear. And it seems like they're not comfortable playing against Michigan anymore. They don't feel like they're the inevitables anymore. Curtis Williams, what's up, my brother? How are you? So you got Ohio State, Indiana, a team that no one ever expects to be a football power, but here they are, a football power. They're ranked #2, followed by Texas A&M. Georgia Bulldogs are 4. Texas Tech is 5. Oregon 6. Then you have Ole Miss, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Alabama, BYU, Miami, Utah, and Vanderbilt at 14. And then there's Michigan at 15. They are followed by Texas, USC, Virginia, Tennessee, Arizona State. SMU is 21. Pittsburgh is 22. Georgia Tech, which started out really good, but they've kind of fallen off big time. They are 23rd. And then you have Tulane and Arizona. I wanted to look at some. Oh, by the way, the HBCUs are looking good this year as well. I'm looking at Benedict. They had an outstanding season, 10-2. But of course, you know, Benedict's coach went to State, and State had a great year as well. Benedict, 10-2. They beat Fayetteville State 10-0. Then they beat Central State 10-0. Tuskegee 45-24. Clark Atlanta 59-24. Allen University 38-28. Fort Valley State 14-7. Edward Waters 31-27. Then they lost to Albany State 31-3 before beating Virginia University of Lynchburg 42-10. And then they beat Savannah State 16-13 in double overtime. That was back on the 8th of November. They lost again to Albany 22-16. They beat Wingate. I said Wingate. A lot of people say Wingate, but I was told that the correct pronunciation is Wingate. 25-24 over Wingate. On the 29th, which is today, they face Albany State University in Albany, from Albany, Georgia. So as far as State goes, let's see. Oh boy, David's telling me it's time to go. State had a great year. I mean, a really, really good year for South Carolina State University. Standings. Boy, let's see it here. That's SD State. Okay. Well, anyway, like I said, Cowboy fans, y'all should feel good about yourselves right now. And Eagles fans, you should not feel as good about yourself right now. And we don't need to see the Cowboys again, because the truth of the matter is the Cowboys should have beat us 2 times this year. They should have won both of them. So, the drama starts to heat up. Daryl Thomas, my old buddy, Shorty, what's up, man? I was thinking old Ronald Lewis might come on here and start talking some stuff this morning, but he's not, so that's good. He's quiet. I know he's in Mullins, they tell me. Or was in Mullins. Anyway, folks, that's all the time I have. I guess I'll see you guys around at a basketball game somewhere this week. Good morning, Mr. George Phillips. How are you? Ronald Rao, what's up? Anyway, that's all the time I got. Be back next week. Peace.